And it really poses the question, what do you want to do? Do you want to take a chance and risk getting knocked out? Oh my God! It is all over! Wow! It is all over!
I don't want to wait for the other guys to get this little UFC 202 post-fight podcast in. So I'm here with producer Matt, just driving up to check something out at the studio. And I thought en route we would chat a little bit about what we saw yesterday. So, do you think rigged?
Rigged?
No? Good. That's my boy Matt. So as you got to know, I'm a huge Conor fan. Matt here is I don't know, a fan of whatever happens kind of deal, or what? Fan of the finish?
For that fight?
Or just in general, yeah. He loves bugging me. Ever since he lost, let's delve into that. Why are you so down to hate on McGregor in front of me?
Because I don't know. I think I've always been a big sports fan, and I think I'm watching Levente blossom into
a sports fan.
A sports fan, and so I enjoy watching when.
So you know what buttons to push.
You experience those ups and downs.
Yeah. So
I'm not someone that really follows any particular team all that closely. I have my favorites, but I'm not live or die by a certain team or a homer or anything like that.
Not like me, right? Or a McGregor fan.
So I enjoy watching you experience what it's like to be a sports fan for the first time.
Yeah. Well, it's not the first time, but it is one of those moments where, Canucks have done well and I've been down or whatever, but it's always been especially Canucks, just
not an investment.
No, absolutely not. So Canucks, if I go to a hockey game, I'm usually bored unless something exciting happens, right? Whereas some people just love going to every game. I just can't do that. When they're in playoffs, I'll watch big games, right? Does that make me a bandwagon jumper? Bandwagon?
No, I don't think so. I think that
that's
the idea of bandwagon is just kind of thrown around by people now, and it's who can. I mean,
I know what you mean. People just use it as a.
Well, I mean that's how any
haters
sport,
hate.
that's how any team grows, right? You're going to
right.
get people when you're winning and you're doing well, and then you see how long they stick around, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, definitely feel as though I stuck with my boy McGregor. I never really thought it was crazy, man. It's just crazy. I called it, by the way. I don't know if you know that. In the last podcast, I said McGregor by decision, and I thought that because in the first fight he dominated but gassed, right? And Nick brought up a really good point. See, up until now, I mean, we'll never really know, but up until now, I always thought, McGregor was gassed, so he was slower and he got rocked, which he did. But I thought in the first fight, McGregor shot for the takedown because he was about to get knocked out, dizzy. That's what I imagined, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Nick brought up, I think, the correct point, saying he just thinks he looked rocked because he was so gassed, right? He wasn't actually about to get knocked out or anything. And I think it's true because we watched it again and it did look like that. And, it's just mouth open, breathing heavy, right? Taking deep breaths. And he did it again. This whole fight. Not the whole fight. What would you say? Third round? You got super tired? End of the second. Because Conor won the second round, but the end was kind of Nate's. The last.
Yeah, second round was really the only round I thought could have gone either way.
Right.
That's the round that I thought that
Conor
when it went to decision, it was going to be based on how they scored the second round.
Right.
Because I felt like Conor won the first and fourth.
Well, it was interesting because they said Conor. All judges agreed that Conor won the first, second, fourth rounds.
Okay, see,
right?
I had first and fourth for sure.
Yeah.
And the second, for me, could have gone either way, but I think that McGregor had more significant
damage. Oh yeah. Well, and so, one judge, he scored a 10-8 for Diaz in round 3, which was arguable. I don't know if that's earned.
Yeah, but I think that 10-8 to me was just as much as Connor's 10-8 in the first
But
round.
no one gave him a 10-8 in the first round. That's what's crazy, right? Is I think, yeah, exactly, right? Like if they both got 10-8s, then I'd be like, okay, word. But the fact that Connor didn't get a 10-8 in the first round, and
I think that's only to the fact, to his credit, that he didn't get knocked down. You know what I mean?
Connor-
Like I thought
Connor
he got
didn't?
rocked pretty good, but he never actually went down. Like
Connor,
if he would have
yeah,
if he would have fell down, I think that you'd be singing a different tune.
yeah.
One of those hits
Yeah,
actually knocked him down, but
yeah.
he did. He
He
stayed
slipped
up.
a little bit once, right? I don't know if that was the third round. I'd have to watch it again, but
Nate Diaz isn't like a hard striker too, right?
no, yeah. But yeah, I definitely don't think it was fixed. I knew it's on tape too. Matt was secretly recording, not so secretly recording me to probably make fun of me. Had Connor have lost, he would show the world. What's your favorite clip out of that?
I haven't watched it.
Oh no, but you were playing one over and over. So I'm making a Nate Diaz impression with the flexing. Oh man, but hats off to both of them for sure. Like, like Nate was dropped 3 times. It just keeps coming, man, and like putting Connor in scary positions.
He's not a good matchup for Conor McGregor.
No,
like, Conor
he's not.
McGregor's a better fighter.
And Connor says, like, honestly, he was heavier this time around. He had 25 to 30 pounds on him.
Conor McGregor did.
No.
Oh.
Connor was saying he's certain Nate was 30 pounds heavier on him.
Well, he's the lightweight fight. Usually he fights lightweight.
155, yeah, but he's saying this fight, like, they weighed in or whatever. That's my understanding. Is you weigh in and then you go gain a bunch of weight.
Yeah.
Right? And which sounds kind of crazy because official weigh-in was like 170, and Connor was 180, 168 or something. And he's saying like he wasn't able to get up there, get his weight up after the weigh-ins. But he's like, I don't know, can that happen? 30 pounds in, what is it, 24 hours? No, right? Or what is the time? I'm totally ignorant to this, Nick.
I don't know the actual, like,
Hugo will have a better idea.
It's all new, right? Like the way
right.
that they do
Yeah, they just changed it. So there's a ceremonial weigh-in before the fight, and then there's like an official weigh-in.
Right.
Anyways, don't think it was rigged. I think it was crazy close, but I think if you don't think Conor McGregor is a better martial artist, more talented after that fight, I think you're a hater. That's when I'm going out on a limb saying, because even though it was close, that's credit to Diaz's incredible toughness and cardio, not to his throwing of hand skills.
No, and that's why I wanted to see Nate try to take it to the ground earlier in the fight, because he tried like takedowns, but they were like a little too late. Like he didn't have the energy for him. And I think that's what gassed him. I think McGregor was already gassed, and I think that Nate Diaz went for a couple takedowns,
right?
And he started putting him against the wall or against the fence, and I think that's when Nate Diaz started to actually like gas up. But I wanted to see him take him down early, because that's where he's going to put McGregor to the test, is whether he can weather the storm on the ground. Because as soon as Nate got him on the ground last fight, it was over.
Yeah, it was
instantly. So
I also think McGregor was, from what I remember, I mean, it's always hazy, but I think McGregor was winning the 5th until that takedown. It was close
at the very end.
At the very end, yeah. I think that's what gave.
Yeah, that's what I thought won the fight. Honestly, like I thought that little final takedown by Nate Diaz was just like, it could have been just enough.
What was that, like 8 seconds?
Depending on how you scored that second round.
Yeah.
And so I thought that if anyone had scored that second round for Nate,
I
thought that that little takedown at the end was then the kind of deciding factor.
You were saying biggest fight of all time? I don't know about that.
No.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Close.
But
there's nothing on the line.
No, yeah, exactly, right?
Nothing on the line except for...
Well, there's a lot. His pride, his celebrity.
Yeah. Sure, but that's with any fight. Like, any fight has that.
But Conor's a special guy, man. Like,
no, I know, but I'm saying that, like, in the sense that there's no titles, there's no contender shots, there's nothing in the sense of playing within your league, your division, right? Because they're just two guys that you knew after this fight they were going to go their separate ways. They were going to get the fights they were going to get, regardless of if they would have won or lost that fight. It's not like if they would have lost that fight.
There wouldn't be a third fight, though.
No, but but I mean, Dana White doesn't want a third fight for a while.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's one of those things, like, if McGregor would have lost that fight, it's not like he wouldn't be going down to lightweight
No,
to go
yeah,
defend his title.
featherweight.
If
I agree with you.
Diaz would have won that fight, I don't think he would have gotten like a title shot.
No,
He's still gonna have to go fight like a number one contender.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's earned that, but he earned that with the last fight. He didn't earn that with this fight.
Connor's just nuts, man. He went up, tried to do something crazy, failed, adjusted in the rematch, and got the job done, man. It's like, I was also gonna say about the takedowns. What I was listening to, from my understanding, is Nate regrets how many takedowns he attempted.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what gassed him up, but I think he just tried that a little bit too late.
Right.
That was the issue. Like, I wanted to see him.
But Nate's not a takedown kind of guy, is he? Like, he's not really good. I have no idea.
No, and that's what I found interesting by, like, some of the times he got knocked down, like, he went down quick and then just instantly went into guard. It was almost like trying to bait him to come down.
Oh, he was. Yeah. He
and that's why some of those takedowns I was saying during it, like, they didn't seem like it wasn't like a huge stumbling, half concussed as you're going to the mat. Like, he seemed to just kind of get hit and like be willing to kind of go down.
Do you think a part of him wanted to go down?
Oh, I think.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, I think that exactly. I think it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, if you get hit like that.
So are you saying it didn't legitimately drop him? Because you got to think how much points that's given the other guy. Right?
No, I don't think he's like falling over.
But
it's one of those things where it's like
he got hit, and in his head he's making that decision.
Yeah,
okay,
it's like,
let's go
how
down.
do you scramble, right? Okay, drop down, go into guard. Let's see if he tries to finish it, come on top, and at least we're in that world, right?
Now this brings up another interesting thing. I think unanimously, whether you think a lot of fighters are trying to say Conor lost or like whatever, it's not fair. Again, I think a lot of people don't like him. You're gonna get that, but I think unanimously, fighters or people think. I'll quote Nick. UFC 202 took a big shit on 200. And I think a lot of people agree with that. And what do you think? Why do you think that is?
Well, partly is you didn't have a lot of the wrestlers, right? You had a lot of guys like Cerrone.
Yeah.
You had McGregor, Diaz. You knew
Rumble.
Those guys were going to stand. You had Rumble. You knew he was going to throw.
Yeah.
Whereas 200, you had Lesnar. You had Cormier. You knew that you were going to get some of those.
You had Lesnar, Cormier, you had Jose Aldo, but that's the thing, right? So they all had like, I got to do what I got to do to win.
Yeah,
kind
exactly. Whereas
this is like, we're going to fight and they just doesn't have that safety, And one thing that was kind of crazy was Conor was running a little bit. As much as I love him, that did happen. I think totally makes sense why, to get into a safer range. Whatever,
yeah, and
right?
I think also, I was listening to Michael Bisping on
talking about this fight.
No, he was talking. It was actually an interview before the fight on Friday, I think.
Yeah,
and he was saying like one of the things that he's learned is the guy asked him, was it Nick Wright, Cowherd show?
Yeah,
and then he was asking him about like fighting angry, right, and how if you got to fight a guy, do you feel like you have to motivate yourself to just almost like fabricate this hate for him in order to fight him? Yeah. And Bisping said that was how he used to approach it and thought that that's how you had to be in it. And then he said like as he got older and more mature with fighting, you realize that like you're never at your best when you're fighting angry.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that like you watch Conor McGregor go into that fight this time,
he was
and
not
as much
angry.
as there was like the build up of the press and throwing water bottles, that kind of show, he didn't seem to be going into this fight like
emotional.
Even
though some people thought he was. They were like, oh, he's throwing water. I agree with you. I think he was really calculated, smart.
And I think that's part of it. Like, I think that's part of what he knew his success was going to be. Like, last time it just seemed like he was so used to knocking people out.
That's what he expected to happen.
But he expected to happen, and when it didn't happen, you get frustrated with that, and you start to try things, and you start to experiment, and you start to do whatever, and then eventually you just gassed out because you just kind of put everything into it, and didn't get the result that he wanted. I think he knew, like, going into this fight that, like, once you're up, and especially when you're fighting a guy that's bigger than you, that's used to getting hit harder, and that has a chin regardless of that, you got to realize that this thing could go 5 rounds, and you got to be prepared for that. And not just like physically, but a lot of that comes from your mental preparation. Because if you're fighting angry or you're fighting with like a high level anxiety or something, you're putting a lot more into certain things, and you're going to gas quicker. You're going to make different kinds of decisions. And it just seemed like he kind of had learned that going into this one.
Oh yeah, well that's what's amazing too, right? And I think having this fight we're gonna see what he's learned in his title defense fights as well, right? Like, he's really been tested, man. Like, what Nate could do, I don't know if Aldo could do the same way, right? Like, that kind of pressure. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know, man. All those.
He's a big pressure
we
guy.
never got. Well, that's the thing. We never got to see them all those showcase anything last time, right? So you don't know how McGregor's gonna kind of deal with it, right?
Well, speaking of Mayweather, he tweeted money bag signs, and Amir Khan also tweeted at him. He's like, fantastic fight, big props, whatever, guts it took, whatever, heart. Call me. We got to talk. Winky face.
Well, McGregor said he wanted $100 million in cash if he was going to fight Mayweather.
Hey, man, it's not impossible. I think Dana's a fool if Dana was the sole reason that fight doesn't happen, whether or not it's a good idea. It's market wise, it's a good idea, man.
You think that, but at the same time, like, you have to understand that, like, how the UFC is trying to grow. Like, what's the bigger picture? Is it if it's just around one fight, or do you not want to become the kind of showcase that it used to be, where you had
like a freak show kind
of? Yeah, you don't want that again, right? They're trying to move away from that. They're trying to make it more legitimate, and as soon as you start to like do that, you're going for the instant payoff, right? As opposed to kind of the long term thing, and that's, I think, when Dana White took over and they bought the company. I think that's what Dana White started introducing more of, was like a legitimacy, trying to bring it to the sport.
I know, but listen, like, I know what you mean, instant payoff, freak show, but we're talking, best boxer, most successful boxer of our time versus the biggest phenom or whatever talked about, so it's not just like, it's not like Conor versus Brock Lesnar, that's a freak show. You know what I mean? Like, if they were trying to say, oh, that's going to happen, that's ridiculous. I think this is just, like, people would love to see it, and it would make money, man. I don't know. It's just, like, they're the same weight class, right?
No, I think that Mayweather's heavier than.
Really? Wow. I don't know. I think, why would you choose, if you could press a button in life where that fight happens, and then another button where, oh, it's not going to happen. Like, why in a...
Well, I mean, first of all, you got to even just look at the fact of how difficult it is to make it happen. They couldn't get Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather to fight. Both in the same sport, both the best at...
Yeah, but that's because Pacquiao,
and it took forever, right?
Like, didn't want to take the steroids test the way Mayweather said he had to, right?
Money issues. But I'm just saying, like, it's a difficult thing to get done. And I think that the UFC has to have a bigger vision of what they're trying to do than just that, because I think that once you're selling your company for $4 billion, you're selling it on the expectation that you're going to be earning that back. That's not money that these guys have on hand when they're buying that company.
Do you know how much Mayweather Pacquiao?
Right, but
no, I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't remember
how much they made for that fight.
Yeah, how much did?
Close to $300 million for.
No, not the fighters. Well, I guess pay-per-views. It was like,
how many orders there was?
3 mil or something?
No.
Or what's like the most pay-per-view?
It was around $1 million, I think.
No. It was more than that. UFC 100 was like $1 million.
Buys?
Yeah, man. I'll put Mayweather.
I just think that when you're taking over this company, you're going to be looking for things like you got to bring it on the
4.4 million pay-per-view buys. And the revenue is over $400 million just from that. And then you make money from other stuff, right?
Yeah. But I think that the UFC has to look at 10, 20, 30 years down the road, right? It's even like, I mean, they have to bring a legitimacy to it. Like, that's why, like, the thing with like the water bottles, for example, with Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Like, Dana White seemed legitimately pissed off.
He did, yeah.
And Dana White's like fine with a lot of things, but I think that it's that same idea where it's like, you can't, as much as that's good for promotion, good for marketing, going to get buys on your pay-per-view, at the end of the day, like, in the long run, you need to bring the legitimacy to your sport, and you can't let guys get away with that kind of stuff, because it's just...
Are they going to fine him, you think?
Oh, for sure.
They're going to fine McGregor for the water bottles?
They're definitely going to fine him. If not, I would, that's what I mean. Like, if any other athlete in any other sports league did something like that, you're suspended.
Yeah.
You're suspended. Like, there's no way. If you're in a press conference after the Super Bowl or before the Super Bowl, and the quarterback of the other team and Cam Newton hucks a water bottle at Peyton Manning, Like, I'm sorry to say, Cam Newton's not playing in the Super Bowl.
I know, man, but it's
You know what I mean?
It's
and
it's
it's a
fighting,
different sport.
man. It's fighting.
It's fighting.
right?
It's this. But that's what I'm saying. Is like, it's got to move away from just the fact of, oh, it's fighting. It somehow needs to be treated different. It doesn't. It's trying to be a legitimate sport, so it needs to be treated the same, and it needs to treat its sport, its craft, its company in the same way.
I don't know
Like,
if they
yeah,
could find him, man, because that helped push the sales.
But that's what I'm saying. Is
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Like, if Cam Newton hucks a water bottle at Peyton Manning,
Yeah.
it's going to explode the amount of people, like, the interest in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, but at the same time, the NFL realizes that, like, you got to protect the shield. They always say, right?
Yeah.
You got to protect the image of what the company is, and I think that the more legitimate that UFC wants to be, they have to start doing that. And part of that is we need to get this.
And I just think
on
when you're
network
dealing with
television, right?
professional fighters or people who fight for a living,
Yeah, football players crash into each other.
I know, but it's just you're dealing with like wild personalities often. Not
Right, and that's
everybody,
fine.
right? There's some
Capitalize on
professional-
that.
Then I know, but you can't control a lot of these people, man.
You
like
can.
look at Nate.
Yes, you can. Because if Conor McGregor would have done that and got fined a ton of money and then suspended, you think he's going to do something like that again? I would hope not. And if he does, you call him an idiot for, like, smarting up, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, there needs to be.
So what do you think? So you do think he's going to get fined?
Oh, for sure. I think he should be fined.
No, but do you think he will be?
I don't know. I think so, because I think that the UFC now is being sold, right?
Yeah.
And it's trying to move into this new market because it just got sold for $4 billion. That money doesn't exist in the UFC yet.
Yeah.
It's not worth $4 billion in that way.
Yeah.
It's all potential revenue, right?
Yeah.
So how they have to look at, okay, how are we going to make this money back? Well, one, we're going to connect with Fox, or maybe ESPN once Fox,
it's a long-term
that
thing,
contract
for sure.
ends, whatever, right? You got to look at these network deals when you've got like guys like in the NBA, right, that sign these billion-dollar contracts over the next few years. It's like UFC's got to start to look for that. It's going to have to restructure how many fighters it has, how it sets up fights, because it needs more content. In order to make that money back, you can't have a pay-per-view every 3 weeks, right? You're going to need to have more fight nights, more just more action all the time. You need to be making that money back, right? And so I think that the easiest way to get that done is that you have to clamp down and you have to create a formula for what you're producing. And you have to put restrictions on these guys. You can't let them do these things. And do those things, are they going to happen? Sure. And they become sports stories. And like any sport, right? Guys, whatever, bench brawls or
how much trouble do they get into for that stuff?
Depends on the sport, depends on the action, right? But if like NFL, none of it. NFL does not fight. Like baseball gets away with bigger fights than the NFL does. Like you throw a punch in the NFL, you're gone, and you're gone for like a quarter of the season or something.
I don't know. I guess part of me is like down for UFC to be different.
Right, but that's because But you're already sold on the UFC. You're not who the UFC is trying to get. They've already got you.
Yeah.
They're looking at the whole market.
They've got me, but they got me like once in a while, right? I'm the type of fan. Maybe they've gotten me, but I'm not watching every event. Like no chance.
Sure.
I care.
But you're not necessarily who they're looking at right now.
Yeah.
To say like we need to get these people into the UFC.
I don't know. I don't like the whole idea of like, NFL, NBA as being these like sacred organizations that we have to look up to. Maybe
they're not,
there's something's wrong with them.
There's criticism all the time with all those kinds of companies, and they do.
Or
things
FIFA
wrong,
is a perfect example,
and
right?
they have to look at how they've structured things and restructure. I'm just saying that like as the UFC moves forward, it has to start to like understand that that's.
I don't know if they have
it's
to.
starting to move in.
I don't know. Well, that's beyond anything I know. But sweet. Well, we could end it at that. That's a pretty good little recap. I can't wait to see where Conor goes from here.
He's got to fight Aldo.
Yeah. He might. Yeah. Who knows? He
has to.
He has to.
Who else does he defend? He's got the interim title. Like he has to.
He probably will. Yeah. At this point, though, he wants people wondering. That's the thing. He wants people like, oh, is he going to? Oh, he's not going to.
Well, he wants. It's part of it too is to bait Aldo into saying something too, right?
Yeah, of course.
He's saying you got to earn it. You got to earn it. Eventually, Aldo's going to say, "Hey, buddy, I've earned it." And now there's a little rivalry.
10 years. Yeah, I think. Man, I just don't know. It's gonna be crazy. Well, whatever. Send it there. Let's get to work, and thanks, guys. See ya.